Alright, in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a character in Foundry for DC20. Now, this is using the 0.8 rules, the beta rules for DC20. And the Foundry version I'm using is 12, though I know that DC20 also works on version 11. Now, to get the DC20 rule set for Foundry, it's not officially out yet, so you do have to go to the Discord channel for DC20 to get it. All right, so I'll start with creating actor. This is my tester. I did click the create actor button. If you're a player, the DM may need to turn on the create actor part, or it'll create the actor for you to be able to access that. The character pops up, it's very purple. Now, of note, this left-hand bar is not always there by default. There's a little arrow on the left-hand side that kind of pushes it in and out. So when you open up the character, it's possible that it just looks like this, and then you're missing a fair amount of information that you may need on the left-hand side. There's also a right-hand side button too, but that is for the basic actions that you can take with skills and so on, and that shows up in the core tab. That's don't need that for creating the character. To start with it, you obviously want to start with your stats. This is how many points. The 12 is how many points you have to put in your stats. They all start at -2. The plus and minus you can add to hit the plus button to add to it, and it subtracts it from this number here. So let's make my agility 3. Now, of your stats, of course, might does adjust your health. So I go up and down the might, it goes ups and lowers your health. Agility changes your passive defense. So that obviously is like your armor class in Pathfinder and D&D. Charisma changes your grit points. Grit points are similar. I shouldn't say they're similar to hero points. No, they're kind of their own thing. It's a way to mitigate damage for yourself or to give advantage on saving throws for you and someone else. So charisma adjusts that. And also charisma adjusts your mental defense. It's like your AC for mental attacks. So you can see how it changes that. And intelligence also does the same. You're going to say, hey, why does only agility change your physical defense and charisma and into both add to your mental? It's because you can also wear armor and have guarded weapons that will also raise your passive defense. So he doesn't, only agility needs to change that, while both mental stats change that. Int also changes how many skill points you can have. So charisma adjusts grit, int adjusts your skill points, agility changes your passive defense, and might changes your health. Now in DC20, you can you don't have to pick particular stats for the class you want to build. It's the prime modifier is whatever is highest, and you can only go to 3 on at level 1. Also, if you put your stats in it, and now of course that button has gone away, so you can't add or subtract, you can go and click your edit tab on, very much like how the D&D character sheet in Foundry works. You click on the edit, and then you can now adjust it and so on. And it won't let you adjust it past 3, and it won't let you go below -2. All right, this 2 here shows you where you're going to put your save mastery. So what you're adding your save mastery, which is your level divided by 2 rounded up. So at level 1, it's 1, where you can adjust to your saving throws. It's like in D&D, it would be like your proficiency in your particular saving throws, but in DC20 you get to choose it. So I'm going to put 1 in agility and 1 in int. Now the reason why I'm doing that is because a lot of times they have physical saves and mental saves, and that is whatever's the best of the 2. Now not always, some of them do ask for specifically like might saving throw or charisma saving throw, but this is just for me making a character that it makes the spread a little bit better. Some people want to, maybe put it in their lower numbers to make the more even cross, right? So, but that's up to you, however way you want to strategize making your character. Okay, you have your stats, you have your save masteries in there, and now you want to choose a background. Now, as of yet, we only have just the beta background, which is a flat background. So the compendium packs is where you want to go. That's the little thing that looks like an iPod between the music symbol and the game settings. And in here, there's the backgrounds, and there is only one background so far, and that's just the beta background that gives backgrounds give you your skill points, trades, languages, that kind of thing. So you grab the beta background and you put it in background. And so now it has changed how many skill points you have, trade points, languages. Now in DC20, there's different levels of masteries you can put in your skills, but at level 1, it's just trained. And if you click on the left-hand side, that's where you can change it to, that's a novice skill. And then you click it again and it removes it. Higher levels, it goes up higher, but at level 1, that's how to do it. And as you see, if I click on it, it changes your skill, how many skill points you have. There's a K and a T here. What that is for is if you trade skill points to knowledge points, which are down in here, and it's a 2-to-1. So if I hit K, it removes the 1 skill point and it adds 2 knowledge points to put where you want. There's also a T where it puts it to trade skills. So right now I have 3 trade skills. I'll hit the I by that hides and shows what's in there. So after you're done, you don't have this big giant column. You can hide the ones you don't have points in. But you start with 3. So if you change them to trade points by clicking T, it lowers the skill and it adds another trade point. And then if you want to put it back, because I don't want that many trade points at this point, the trade system's not really fleshed out yet, so I'm not going to bother. I'm going to put it back to trade. In fact, can I revert more? No, I can't. There's a big error that says go away. Cannot do that. So you can't take all your trade points and put them into skill points. It's just whatever skill points you have start with to put into trade. All right, so I'm going to put in awareness. That goes off your prime modifier. Everyone knows that that's like their most important skill. It's also the skill that when I DM, that's the default initiative one. If you're not doing something else, that's usually people are, if you're in a dungeon or a wilderness or whatever, that's usually the default to what you're doing. And here it shows you the skill as well of what it is before putting a point in. And these are the skills that you have that's its base. I say it's base because you can you can also in Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder, but DC20 really shows you that you can use a different stat for this skill if you're going to try to tell the DM, hey, I want to use a different skill. Like, for example, intimidation, it's on might for strength, but let's say you want to be a charismatic way of doing it, right? Like, we've seen many villains that are very charismatic in their intimidation. So you click on this button and you can change it to charisma and then roll. And then it rolls in here, obviously, but we haven't got to that part yet. So that's how you change it in the midst. But this is the default stat. So I'm going to put awareness and stealth, and it doesn't really matter what I put in, to be honest, at this point. But picked my skills. And then down here for the knowledge, I did put 2 skills into knowledge. So I'll put in nature and history. My trade skills, again, they haven't really fleshed it out yet. By the way, though, this is where the lock picking is. So if you're interested in, hey, is lock picking actually, trickery? It is actually a skill instead. So I'll put vehicles and cooking. Heck, why not? And then for languages, in DC20, there are 2 levels. Like if you put 1 skill point into it, you have to do a check because you're, limited version of it. So you're, like if you learn Spanish or French in school, high school, and that's all you have, that's kind of the skill you'd be at. And then if you put another point into it, it is fully fluent, and you don't need to put points in. I should also mention, which I forgot, up here in the trade, there's an L button because you can trade points to language points. So I'm going to remove alchemy. Oops. Remove cooking. So, and put a point into languages. So now I have, and it's a 2, see, so right now that says 4 languages. If I convert it back to trade, it gives you 2. So it's a 2 to 1 for trade to languages, very much like up here, it's 2 to 1 for skills into knowledge skills. So I'm going to put that back to languages. And it's weird. As a species, you're supposed to get, I believe, your root language, human, dwarf, elf, whatever that you're speaking, but that's actually technically not in the rules yet, but I'm sure it'll come. So I'm going to have a little bit giant, a little bit of draconic, but I'm going to put fully fluent in orcish. Okay, so now all these things are, it's too long, right? So that little I shrinks it down to a more manageable list. So it only shows what you're actually skilled in. That much easier. Okay, you got your skills. Now it's time to pick Ancestry. Again, you go into the companion packs here. There's the Ancestries, which are different folders. Now in DC20, you can pick one ancestry if you want. You can pick 2, so you're like half giant, half gnome. Poor mother. Or you can even do a mixture of a bunch of other ones. Now, normally you have 5 points to put into your attributes of your ancestry. All the different ones are worth different. The different skills are worth different points, whether it be 2, 1. Some of them there's a flavor one that's called 0, or it's 0. It's called a flavor one, and then of course there's penalties as well where you can take and add skills back. So if the way the system is built is it's going to assume that in Foundry that you're taking one ancestry. So taking one ancestry, you grab the ancestry and you put it in the ancestry box. And then here is how you build it. So here's the default. So if you don't want to spend too much time into it, just click yes to default. But if you're going to pick and choose, you can uncheck. I don't use Draconic Breath. That's worth 2 points. Up here it says you still have 2 points to spend. And then you can go, well, I also, want more points. So this is a neat skill. I should also mention that the left-hand side of there is the tooltip. If you move your mouse over it, it kind of shows you what these things do. So I'll take the Guardian's Bonds. It gives me extra points. So now I have 3 to spend. And then I'll take Glide Speed. And I love the Dying Breath, the idea that you blow up when you die. So then, after I'm done picking my skills, I click Apply Advancement. It finishes it, and then on my Traits tab, which I haven't gone over here, I'm sorry. This is the Core tab. This is your Inventory, your Features, and these are the features that just came in. Dark Vision, Dying Breath, so on. And then later on we'll get into classes. There's techniques and spells. Techniques are like martial spells, in a way. Effects tab, which is in all the games, in D&D, Pathfinder, all that, you'll find this is where your effects right now. It has Dark Vision on, your Resilience, your Draconic Resistance, which even shows up down on your Core tab. You'll see that the resistance of fire is already in there. They already put it in there. So that part's already built in, which is nice. Also, your senses, you see, if I hover over the eye there, the Dark Vision 10 is already in there. So that's good. Also, oh yeah, I was talking about the Effects tab, I'm sorry. The Effects tab this is also your conditions, where you can add or subtract conditions to your character as well. And you hover over it and it tells you what it does. There's a lot of conditions. I would really like this to be in alphabetical order. It isn't. So you'll have to hunt and peck a little bit trying to find it. The last one is the journal, where a character can write things in. Okay, now where was I? I was in Ancestries. So let's say I don't want to be a pure Dragonborn. Now I'm going to have to click the Edit tab to remove the Dragonborn. And doing that, it removed all my features successfully. So if I want to just pick and choose between them, I can go into the features and just look at the features that I want and drag them over. Now, like that. Now, the tough part is, I picked tough when I said that, is it doesn't keep track of how many points you've spent. And it doesn't even, it doesn't even really show you how many points you spent. So that part's a little tough. You may have to look at the DC20 book if you're building it to figure out that tough is worth, I think it's, let me click the edit button, because I think it tells you in here, if I edit, tell me it does. Usage? No, it doesn't. That's unfortunate. I know it says it in the actual dwarf part. If you edit that, it tells you how many points it is. So you'll, unfortunately, you kind of, it isn't built too well when you're mixing Ancestry, so you will have to use the book. But you drag over the parts that you want from the two different species. If you're doing it, important note, if you're doing two different species, you only pick one of the the flavor pieces between the two species that you're using. And if you're doing more than one species, you only get 4 points instead of 5, because you're, hunt and pecking, you're cherry picking from a bunch of different ones. All right, but for this one, I am just going to remove these ones, go back and just grab dwarf. And I will attribute. This will actually automatically change your attributes and stuff like that too. It's fairly good when it comes to the automations for the game. No add-ons needed. But right now I'm just going to pick the default so we can continue on. Hey, got more health points because of the toughness, and it actually worked. So that's good. So my ancestry is picked, and then I want to pick my class. Very similar in the compendium packs here. You pick your classes and whatever class that you want. Very similar to Ancestries in that way, where you pick the item at the bottom. These are your level 2 talents, level 1 and 2 talents, which will automatically come in. So I'm going to grab a ranger, put it in the class. These are the talents that you get. If there's any questions, like right here, of the class, very similar to your Ancestry. So I have 2 points to spend, and I'm going to do like subterraneans and mountains. But, you can do what you want with that. A lot of classes, like clerics and so on, they have these choices for when you're picking it. Finish. It already added my stamina point, my hit points, everything like that. It's added. Your abilities have been added, which is fantastic. And then your class is built. Now you just want to take your inventory. So over here is inventory. It's very limited amount of stuff that you can get at this point at 0.8. It's pretty much weapons and armor. There's like a first aid kit is the only other thing. I mean, they put a healing potion in. I myself have added a few things like magic items and so on, but that's that you can add yourself. But we're just building a character right now. We're not building a campaign. So to grab the items, you just click and drag them over. I'm going to grab some light armor. It is the DC20 book that tells you, what armor you start with. And it is fairly automated. You can click on this equip button and it changes your physical defense already. Also, when picking your weapons, now it says weapon examples, which is nice. I'll show you a little bit about custom weapons, but so right now, you never know. I might want an unarmed strike. For my melee weapons, if I want to grab a weapon that already has traits, it usually adds it over. For example, if I grab short sword has the guard ability. So if I equip it, it automatically changes your physical defense, which is great. And let me grab I'll grab a versatile weapon as well, just to show you a couple of things. a ranged weapon. Let me get myself a bow. And if you equip it, this one doesn't actually have any. The tooltip will tell you what type of weapon properties it has. To create a weapon, you can create item. Oh, that didn't do it. I thought there was a. I guess you can build it in there. I thought there was a weapon builder. Wrong. Oh, open weapon creator. Look at that. So I was in the item tabs. I hit create item. I chose weapon, and then there is a open weapon creator. There it is. I knew it was in here somewhere, where you can custom build your weapon. So axe type weapon. No, I can make a. Let's make a trident. So will be a spear. Damage type will be piercing. The reason why the the trident has like 3 prongs is for guard. And let's also say that it is versatile. That you can use it with one hand or two. Create the weapon. I'm going to again call it trident. Heck, why don't I choose a picture for it? Where's spears? Yeah, pole arms. Maybe it's in there. Yeah, look at that. It is. Trident. Oh, that one looks terrible. That one looks better. Well, by the way, that image that pops up to the right, that is just an add-on. It's image viewer. I just find it really handy. So I have myself a trident that I can put now in my inventory, and it'll work properly. See, I'll undo short sword. If I put in trident, it automatically puts the guard in as well, which is nice. All right. I forgot something about the class, of course. Kind of an important part of the class is your techniques. I did briefly mention that. It's like your spells for martial. So again, we're going to the compendium packs. There is spells here for the spellcasters. It's done the exact same way, where you click and drag the spells that you're putting in. And it'll say on the spells how many spells you get, how many cantrips and spells, which are up here. Obviously, my ranger doesn't have any, but it works exact same way as maneuvers. I have 4 maneuvers that I can pick. So I'll grab the techniques. Maneuvers are in the techniques folder. Talents are for when you go up a level and stuff. We'll get to that later. And then you can grab your maneuvers. Now, I'm a martial, so I get all the attack maneuvers. So that means when I do click and drag them in here, it doesn't change how many maneuvers I can have, because they know that you get those for free. Also for weapon style helpers, I do have a spear style because I have the trident. So if I click and drag that in there, it'll actually change my trident's. That's the special thing you get for spears right there. You move 2 spaces towards your target, you deal 1 extra damage like a charge. So because I said trident is a spear, when I moved that into it, it put it right in my abilities to use. So then after that, if I pick any other ones like bleed, it'll change the maneuvers right here. Okay, I've picked one maneuver. So trip, and let's get some defense, parry, sidestep, and now it's done. It's taking your 4 maneuvers. Important note, there is a little star on the right-hand side of some of these things in your inventories and stuff like that as well. What that does is it favorites it. And if you favorite it, it goes up on your front page. So on your core tab, there's the trident, which I favored. So you're not going through all the different tabs looking for it. The ones you use a lot are right there. Now, this is important, of course, too, because as you see, the character sheet picks up a lot of space, and you can't really see what's going on. So, having it on one page does really help. You can, of course, remember to shrink that if you need some more space. Also, if you, this is for any window in Foundry. If you double click on the top bar, it shrinks it. So it makes it a little bit easier that you don't have to keep going into your actor tab or double click on your character to get to it. So that is a nice way to be able to get to your character. Unfortunately, at this time, putting it in your bar doesn't... oh, it does now. It works now. Never mind. It didn't in the previous one, so good job, Patrick, for changing that. So that's another way to open up your character quickly, is to have it drag it into your quick bar below. Last thing I want to show you is you'll want to rest. This is the rest button over here. And clicking on that to give yourself a full rest, so it resets your grit points. Doesn't reset your stamina, which is odd, but I think that is it. That is how you build a character. Now, how to use the character in combat and so on, that might be another video. But and how to change your tokenizer does work. The add-on tokenizer works really good in the DC20. So you can always use the tokenizer. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it makes a nice picture. I don't really have a picture handy. I didn't really plan for that part. So you can use tokenizer to be able to change that part of it as well, your portrait. So that's it. I hope I helped a little bit in showing you how to build a character in DC20. Thanks for watching.